I rested my rough hand against the cold glass of my apartment window in Surrey, watching December drizzle smear the streetlights into long, glowing lines. At 64, I'd learned the hard way that distance isn't always something you choose, sometimes it's something that's forced on you. My daughter Rachel had moved east 3 years earlier, taking my granddaughter Mia with her after the divorce. They settled in Mississauga, closer to Rachel's former mother-in-law, Eleanor Walsh. The custody agreement was clear and unforgiving. Rachel had primary custody, and I got video calls, alternate summers, and the occasional holiday if schedules allowed. I told myself it was better than nothing, but the silence in my apartment argued otherwise every night. The tablet chimed at exactly 6:45 p.m. Mia was always on time. Her face filled the screen, missing one of her front teeth, grinning so wide it made my chest ache. "Grandpa," she said, bouncing in her seat. "Look what I made today." She held up a paper snowflake, carefully cut, every edge deliberate in that intense, serious way only kids have when they're proud of something. Her small fingers shook just a little. "That's beautiful, sweetheart," I said. "Is it for school?" "Yeah. We're decorating the auditorium for winter night. My teacher said mine might go near the stage." She paused, then added, "Nana Eleanor helped me practice at home. She has really sharp scissors." Something in her voice changed on that last sentence. Not fear exactly, more like hesitation. A pause where there shouldn't have been one. "That's nice," I said carefully. "You staying there this weekend?" She nodded. "Mom's working nights at the clinic again. Nana says we're baking cookies and watching old movies." "What kind of cookies?" "Chocolate chip, I think." Another pause. Longer this time. "Grandpa?" "Yes, honey." "Is it normal for grown-ups to take pictures of kids when they don't have clothes on?" Every muscle in my body locked up. My stomach dropped so fast it felt like falling. "What kind of pictures, Mia?" I asked, keeping my voice steady by force alone. "Who told you that?" She glanced off-screen, eyes suddenly wide. "Oh, Nana's here. I have to go practice the screen jerked violently. For half a second I saw patterned wallpaper. Then Mia's voice, small and scared. "No, Nana, I didn't say anything. I was just talking about school." "Give me that tablet," a sharp voice snapped, controlled, polite on the surface, but razor-edged underneath. "Your grandfather doesn't need to confuse you with inappropriate conversations during our time together." But I didn't, please. The screen went black. I stared at my reflection in the dark glass, my face pale, my hands trembling. 64 years old, and shaking like a frightened kid. I called back immediately. No answer. Again. Voicemail. I called my daughter, straight to voicemail. "Shed be on shift already, phone likely off." I tried the tablet again. Nothing. I told myself to breathe. Told myself kids say strange things. Told myself I was overreacting. But I couldn't forget the question. After the 20th call, I grabbed my jacket. After the 30th, I was in my truck. After the 40th, I was on the highway heading east, rain pounding the windshield. British Columbia to Ontario. Over 4,000 kilometers. I didn't stop except for fuel. Somewhere past Golden, my phone finally rang. "Dad?" Rachel's voice was tight. "I just saw the missed calls." "What's wrong? Where is Mia right now?" I asked. "She's with Eleanor." "Dad, what's happening?" "Call her. Tell her you're picking Mia up early." "I can't, I'm working nights." "I can't just leave, Rachel," I said quietly, every word deliberate. "Mia asked me if it was normal for adults to take pictures of children without clothes on." Silence. Then, barely audible. What? She asked right before Eleanor took the tablet and cut the call. I heard movement on her end. Panic. Oh my God, Rachel whispered. I'm calling the police right now. Where are you? I'm driving to Ontario. You're what? I left the moment the call dropped. And for the first time since my granddaughter was born, I prayed I wasn't already too late. I'm not waiting 40 hours while paperwork decides whether my granddaughter is safe or not. I heard movement on the other end of the line, Rachel speaking urgently to someone nearby, her voice sharp and controlled in that way she only used when fear was sitting right under the surface. Then she came back. Dad, I'm leaving work. I don't care what administration says. I'm going to Eleanor's house right now. Call me the second you have Mia, I said. I will. I'm calling Eleanor first, then the police, and then I'm driving straight there. Her voice cracked. Oh God, Dad, if she's been hurt, drive carefully, I said, forcing steadiness into my voice. Call me. The call dropped. I pressed harder on the accelerator. The speedometer climbed as the rain turned to thick, swirling snow once I hit the higher passes. I didn't slow down. I'd driven these roads decades earlier hauling equipment through worse storms. The truck could handle it. I could handle it. 40 minutes later, my phone rang again. Dad, Rachel said breathlessly. I'm almost there. The police are already on their way. They said they'll meet me at the house. Eve called Eleanor 16 times, no answer. Stay on the line with me. Okay. I could hear her windshield wipers, her breathing fast and uneven. Dad, what if we're wrong? She asked quietly. What if this is all just some terrible misunderstanding? Then we apologize, I said. We deal with the embarrassment. And if we're not wrong? She said. If we did nothing? I didn't answer right away. I couldn't live with that, she said firmly. Not ever. 15 minutes passed in silence, just engines, wind, and breathing. I'm on her street, Rachel finally said. I see police cars. 2 of them. Lights on. What else do you see? The house is dark. A pause. Someone's coming out. It's an officer. He's walking toward me. I'm pulling over. I heard her door open. Voices, distant but urgent. Ma'am, are you the child's mother? A man asked. Yes. Is she okay? Is my daughter okay? Ma'am, I need you to stay calm. We've secured the residence. Your daughter is safe. She's physically unharmed. A sound tore out of Rachel that wasn't quite a sob, pure relief breaking loose. Where is she? She's with a female officer in one of the patrol vehicles. We're keeping her warm. Then the tone changed. Ma'am, we located your daughter alone in the residence. We also discovered evidence of a crime scene in the basement. The world tilted. My truck drifted toward the shoulder before I corrected it. Alone? Rachel cried. Where is Eleanor? Ma'am, we located Eleanor Walsh deceased in the basement. Preliminary evidence indicates suicide by firearm. We also discovered extensive photographic equipment and materials consistent with child exploitation. I heard Rachel's phone hit the pavement. Heard her gag. Heard an officer calling for assistance. My baby, she sobbed. My baby was in that house, your daughter is safe, the officer said firmly. We need to transport her to the hospital for a full medical evaluation. Standard procedure. Do you have someone who can drive you? I'm her father, I said loudly, hoping the phone would catch my voice where it lay. I'm driving from British Columbia. I'll be there in about 36 hours. A pause. The officer picked up the phone. "Sir, this is Constable Hale with Peel Regional Police. Are you the child's grandfather?" "Yes." "Thomas Reed." "Mia Reed is my granddaughter." "Sir, I can't discuss an active investigation in detail, but I can confirm your granddaughter is safe and currently under protective supervision. Based on the scene, it appears Ms. Walsh discovered certain materials on her computer earlier tonight and took her own life. Your granddaughter heard the gunshot and called 911 herself." My chest tightened. "She did exactly what she was taught to do," the officer said quietly. "Very brave. Has she been examined?" I asked. "Is she hurt?" "She's being transported to Sick Kids Hospital for a full evaluation." Then his voice lowered. "Sir, I need to be honest with you. Based on what we've recovered, there are indicators this activity had been ongoing for some time. The equipment, the volume of material, this wasn't isolated. The road blurred. Snow, tears, I couldn't tell which anymore. Incoming, I said. Please take care of her. We will, sir. Drive safely. The line went dead. I drove through the night, through British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan. I stopped only for fuel. Bathroom breaks at frozen pumps. Coffee that tasted like burnt metal. I didn't care. I kept going. My phone rang constantly. Updates from Rachel. From hospital staff. A social worker. A detective asking about changes ID noticed. I told them everything. How Mia had grown quieter on video calls. How she'd started wearing long sleeves, even in July. How she once asked me whether all secrets were good, or if some secrets were bad. I should have known. I should have pushed harder. I should have questioned why Eleanor suddenly insisted on so much special time. The landscape changed, but my thoughts stayed trapped in blame. I reached Toronto on the second evening. 40 hours collapsed into flashing lights, gas stations, and exhaustion. Sick Kids Hospital. 5th floor. A woman met me at the elevator. Mid-40s. Kind eyes. Her badge read Dar. Sarah Chen. Mr. Reed, she said gently. Eve been working with Mia since she arrived. How is she? Physically, she's unharmed, she said. There are no signs of acute injury. However, she paused. Our forensic team recovered hundreds of images. Many of them involved your granddaughter, taken in her bedroom. Metadata indicates the activity began approximately 8 months ago. 8 months. Almost exactly when Rachel started night shifts. Can I see her? I asked. Yes, Dr. Chen said softly. But I should prepare you. She's been very quiet. She's been answering questions when people ask, Dr. Chen said quietly, but she hasn't started any conversations on her own. She's asked for you several times. Dr. Chen led me down a hallway painted with cartoon animals and bright colors that felt painfully out of place. The cheerfulness of it all made my stomach twist. We stopped in front of a door with a narrow window. Through the glass, I saw Mia. She sat on the hospital bed in borrowed pajamas, clutching a stuffed bear someone had given her. Her feet didn't touch the floor. Her eyes were locked on the wall, unfocused, as if she were somewhere far away. She's been like that for a few hours, Dr. Chen said softly. Just staring. A child psychologist spoke with her, but she's not ready to process everything yet. That's a very normal trauma response. I opened the door. Mia's head turned slowly. When she saw me, her face crumpled. Grandpa, I crossed the room in 2 steps and pulled her into my arms. She felt impossibly small, 7 years old, light as air, fragile in a way no child ever should be. "I'm here," I whispered. "Eve got you. You're safe." Her fingers twisted into my jacket. "I didn't want to take the pictures," she whispered against my chest. "Nana Eleanor said it was our special secret. She said if I told anyone, you and Mommy would be mad at me. She said I'd be in trouble." My throat burned. "Oh, sweetheart," I said, holding her tighter. "You were never going to be in trouble. Not ever. None of this was your fault." She sniffed. "She had a big camera," she said quietly. "With lights. She said we were playing dress up. Then she told me to take off my clothes. She said it was for art like the snowflakes at school. She said everyone's Nana does this." My jaw clenched so hard it hurt. "That wasn't true," I said gently but firmly. "That was a lie. What she did was very wrong." MIA's voice dropped to a whisper. "Is she really dead, Grandpa?" "Yes." "Did I make her do it because I asked you that question?" I pulled back just enough to look her in the eyes. "No," I said. "You didn't make anything happen. You asked the right question. You did exactly what you were supposed to do. You were brave. And I'm so proud of you. But if I didn't ask, Mia," I said softly, "what adults choose to do is never a child's responsibility. Ever. Do you understand?" She nodded, but the guilt was still there. I knew it wouldn't disappear in one conversation. 10 minutes later, Rachel arrived, pale, shaking, barely holding herself together. Mia reached for her, and they clung to each other, crying. I stepped back to give them space, but kept one hand on MIA's shoulder so she knew I wasn't going anywhere. Over the next week, the full truth came out. The investigation revealed that Eleanor had been part of an online exploitation network. The images she had taken of Mia weren't just stored, they'd been uploaded, shared in encrypted forums, distributed to other predators. Some had been sold. My granddaughter's innocence had been packaged and traded. Eleanor had made one fatal mistake. She documented everything. Logs. Notes. Dates. Conversations. Payments. When Mia asked me that question during our call, Eleanor must have known the secret was breaking open. She went to her computer, saw her own handwriting condemning her, and understood there was no escape. The note she left behind contained no remorse. Only anger, that she had been discovered, and that Mia had betrayed her by speaking. 5 days after I arrived, the lead detective called me. "Mr. Reed," Detective Laura Walsh said, "we wanted to update you personally. We've identified 47 individuals connected to this network. 17 are in Canada. We're working with international agencies on the rest." 47, I repeated. "Yes, sir. And based on recovered communications, there are at least 32 other children involved. 32 families about to have their lives shattered." "What about MIA's images?" I asked. "Can they be removed?" "We're working with cybercrime units globally," she said carefully. "But I need to be honest. Once material is online, it's nearly impossible to erase completely. We can shut down sites and arrest people, but copies may still exist." I closed my eyes. "There's one more thing," she added. "We found discussions about escalation. Eleanor was being pressured to move beyond photography. There were plans to introduce Mia to one of the men in the group. A meeting was scheduled 3 weeks from now." My stomach turned. If Mia hadn't spoken when she did. If I hadn't listened. If Rachel hadn't acted. If the police hadn't arrived in time. "Thank you for telling me," I said, though my hands were shaking. "Your granddaughter's courage saved her," the detective said. "And your response did too." After the call, I sat in the hospital waiting room with my head in my hands. Rachel sat beside me, silent. Mia was finally asleep, the first real rest she'd had in days. "I'm done with night shifts," Rachel said quietly. "I'm requesting permanent days. Even if it means less money." "Good," I said. "And we're moving back west. Mia needs you close." "I do too." I looked at my daughter. She looked 10 years older than she had a week ago. "This isn't your fault," I said. "You trusted someone who should have been safe." "I should have seen something," she whispered. "She was careful," I said. "Manipulative. This is on her. Not you." After a long silence, Rachel asked, "Why do you think Mia asked you?" I wondered the same. "Maybe because I was farther away," I said. "Maybe it felt safer to ask someone on a screen. Or maybe she just knew I'd listen." "I would have listened too," Rachel said. "I know," I replied. "But fear doesn't think logically." The days that followed blurred together: interviews, counseling, legal proceedings. There was no trial for Eleanor, but the network required Mia to give testimony via video. Specialists prepared her carefully, explaining everything in ways she could understand. I sat beside her, holding her hand. She answered every question clearly. Yes, pictures were taken. Yes, she was told to undress. Yes, she was told it was a secret. When a defense attorney tried to imply she'd somehow encouraged it, my 7-year-old granddaughter looked straight into the camera and said calmly, "I'm 7 years old. I don't encourage anything." "Adults are supposed to protect children," Mia said calmly into the camera. "Not hurt them." The attorney had no reply. In the 6 months that followed, 34 arrests were made, 17 in Canada, 12 in the United States, 5 in the United Kingdom. The network collapsed piece by piece. Servers were seized. Thousands of images were logged as evidence. Every child was identified. Every family was notified. Support services were put in place. Justice moved slowly, but it moved. Mia began therapy twice a week at first. Then once a week, as she started to regain her footing. She had nightmares. Panic attacks whenever someone raised a camera, even for harmless school photos. She hated being alone in rooms, always needing someone nearby. And yet, she healed. Children often do, if they're given safety and time. She returned to school. Made new friends. Joined the art club again. She learned that trauma could live alongside joy, that being hurt didn't cancel out being strong. She learned she could be both brave and broken, and still whole. Rachel kept her word. She transferred hospitals and moved back west. Found an apartment a few blocks from mine. Mia stayed with me every afternoon after school. We did homework at the kitchen table. Cooked dinner side by side. Watched nature documentaries curled up under blankets. I taught her ordinary things. Safe things. How to identify birds by their calls. How to bake bread. How to change a tire. Normal life, rebuilt carefully. On the first anniversary of that night, Mia surprised me. "Can we visit the cemetery?" she asked. "Why?" I said, caught off guard. "Dar. Chen says sometimes it helps to say goodbye to the person who hurt you," she replied. "Even if they're gone." So the three of us drove out together. We found the grave, plain stone, no flowers. No visitors. Eleanor's son had moved overseas and wanted nothing to do with her memory. Mia stood quietly for a long moment. Then she spoke. "I forgive you," she said, steady and clear, "because holding on to anger hurts me more than it hurts you. But I won't forget what you did. And because of you, other kids got help. So maybe something good came from something bad. I hope you found peace. I'm still learning how to find mine. She reached for my hand, and we walked away. The legal proceedings stretched on for years. The remaining members of the network were tried, convicted, sentenced. Prison terms ranged from 10 years to life. Assets seized. Names added to registries. Futures ended, as they should have been. I attended every sentencing. Sat in the courtroom gallery and watched accountability finally land. Some showed remorse. Most didn't. They told themselves no one was hurt. That the children enjoyed it. That society simply didn't understand them. At the final hearing, for the man who had been scheduled to meet Mia 3 weeks after we stopped everything, I was allowed to read a victim impact statement. I stood at the podium and looked directly at him. "You will never know my granddaughter's name," I said. "You will never see her face. You will never know where she lives. She is beyond your reach forever. But I want you to understand what you failed to take from her. You didn't take her smile. You didn't take her love of art. You didn't take her curiosity or her kindness. And you didn't take her future. She's going to grow up. She'll go to college. She'll build a life. Maybe she'll have children of her own someday. She is going to live a full, beautiful life. And you will never be part of it. And you're going to spend the rest of your life behind bars," I finished, my voice steady. "Forgotten. Alone. That's the difference between victims and predators. Victims survive. Predators only exist until they're stopped." He was sentenced to 25 years without parole. Mia is 12 now. 5 years have passed since that night. She's in 7th grade, taking advanced art classes, playing soccer on weekends, learning guitar badly but enthusiastically. She still sees Dar Chen once a month and probably will for a long time. Healing isn't a straight line. She still has difficult days. Moments when memories surface without warning. But she's learned something powerful, that trauma doesn't have to be a cage. That survival itself can be strength. That asking for help isn't weakness. Last week, she came to me with something she'd been working on quietly. A presentation for her school assembly. It was about recognizing warning signs of abuse. About trusting your instincts. About understanding that secrets that make you uncomfortable are never good secrets. "Will you come watch?" she asked. I wouldn't miss it for the world. I sat in the auditorium beside Rachel as Mia stood at the podium in front of 200 students. She spoke clearly, confidently, with the calm authority of someone who understood exactly what was at stake. She didn't tell her own story, not directly. But it was there in every word. When she finished, the room was silent. Then the applause came. Students. Teachers. Parents. Everyone on their feet, clapping for this brave young girl who had turned pain into purpose. Afterward, 3 students approached her quietly. Told her they needed help. That things were happening at home. Mia walked them straight to the school counselor and stayed with them while they spoke. Because of her courage, not just 5 years ago, but now, 3 more children were protected. That night, as I drove her home, she stared out the window, thoughtful. "Grandpa?" she said. "Yes, sweetheart. Do you think she would have stopped if I hadn't asked you that question?" I thought about that more times than I could count. "No," I said honestly. "I don't think she would have. People like that don't stop on their own. They have to be stopped." I glanced at her. "And you stopped it. You were scared, and you asked anyway. That's real courage, not the absence of fear, but acting despite it." She nodded slowly. "I'm glad I asked," she said. "Even though I was scared. Even though I thought you might be mad. I will never be mad at you for asking questions, I said. Never. And I will always come when you need me. 41 hours of driving. 4,000 kilometers. I'd do it again without hesitation. She reached over and squeezed my hand. I know, she said softly. That's why I asked you. Because I knew you'd come. And in the end, that was the only thing that truly mattered. Not the distance. Not the trials. Not even the justice, hard one as it was. What mattered was that when a child asked a question that could have been dismissed or ignored or explained away, I listened. I believed her. And I acted. Every child deserves that. Every single one. If you're reading this and there are children in your life, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, students, neighbors, remember the question Mia asked. Is it normal for adults to take pictures of children without clothes on? The answer is no. It's never normal. It's never okay. It's never art, education, or special bonding. And if a child ever asks you something that makes your blood run cold, don't ignore it. Don't rationalize it. Don't assume someone else will handle it. Listen. Believe. Act. Because somewhere right now, another child is trying to find the courage to ask that question. And whether they're saved depends entirely on whether the adult they ask is willing to hear it. Thank you for watching Rising Strong. If stories like this help you stay grounded, resilient, and moving forward, consider subscribing. You're always welcome here.